we're going to record the session, but we aren't going to keep the parts. I'll actually edit it in the end. So anything that's shared in the group from all of us is going to be cut out, and that will just be a special thing that we experienced here, in this container, and uh, and then we'll share kind of the larger sort of channel and download that we receive at the end with the group, so that people have context around the essence that comes through. Um, but yeah, so this is the third time that we're doing this. Samantha and I met, I guess at this point, many moons ago, and really connected. I just love everything that Samantha does. And we tried out channeling for the first time together and found that it was really beautiful medicine. And everyone who took it was like really excited about it. And so we did it again. And then they just happened to fall on the eclipses. So somehow we're sort of going with that. It's not really planned, but maybe that's where the medicine is supposed to be for us. Um, so yeah, I don't know if I can give a little intro, just background on who I am. So my name is Maya. I have a newsletter called On Holiday, which is all about dropping into ritual and intention, and joyful living. And it's kind of just a space for like joy and bringing us into a grounded sense of living and enjoying every day. And yeah, I love to do activities like this and bring the community together in ways that are off of the newsletter as well. And Samantha, if you want to introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, thank you. I am Samantha. My work is called The Spiral Path, and I work with plant spirit collaboration, as I like to call it, connecting with plant spirits on a spirit to spirit level and channeling through flower essences and also offerings, healing journeys to help people remember how connected and supported they really are. Um, and yeah, it was really synchronistic for Maya and I to connect again on the eclipse. We like reached out to each other. I can't remember which one of us reached out first, but it was like a telepathy moment. I was thinking about you today. And so it just seems as if the medicine has been needed on the eclipses. And um, when I look back on the blends that we channeled the last two eclipse seasons, they're really some of my favorite, most potent of the signature formulas that I have. I really am still deeply in love with them. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what comes through today and what can support us all in this time of humanity.
Yes. Well, okay, with that, I think what is helpful is just to ground into the space a little bit. And so if everyone would just find a comfortable place, if it's that you're sitting at a chair, maybe bring your feet to the earth, or feel your seat in the chair, whatever just feels comfortable for you. You can also lie down. And I invite you to close your eyes. And if not, you can just bring a soft gaze. And deeply inhale from the belly, filling it up like a balloon and letting it soften. And exhale all the breath out. You can release with your mouth open or closed, whatever feels better for you. And inhale deeply from the belly, bringing the air up from the earth, from your feet, from the soles of your feet, up through the body into the crown. And exhale all of that air out, allowing that beautiful white light to come down around your body. Inhale one more time, filling the belly, letting it soften. We often hold a lot of tension in the belly and don't let it soften throughout the day, especially as women. And exhale all of that breath out of the body, fully, fully exhaling and letting it all release. And when you're ready, you can come back to your own breath, remembering that softness. And then I'd like you to tap into the space around your crown chakra. So, right above your head, envisioning a light, and feel the color, the texture. It might be white, it could be pink, it could be any color. Just tapping into your own aura and allowing that to permeate the space around you, coming down over your shoulders, down the front of your throat and the back of your neck, down through your chest, into your belly, into the womb space, down into the root chakra. And slowly that light continues down into your feet, into the soles of your feet, and into the earth. And feel that vibration of your own light, your own aura around your body, radiating out in all directions, protecting you. And this is your shield. Inhale deeply, filling the belly with breath, feeling that aura radiating out, stretching in all directions, getting bigger. And exhale. Inhale again. And exhale all of the breath out of the body. Inhale one last time, feeling that aura stretching as far as you possibly can, while continuing to keep that peace and protection around you. And exhale it all out, letting it down into the earth. And returning to your breath, feeling your body returning to this moment. Maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes, softly cupping your hands over your eyes if you'd like, and coming back into the space. All right. So we're going to talk about what's happening right now a little bit. Um, yeah, I don't know. Samantha, do you want to start or do you want me to start? How are you feeling?
I'm I either way. I was really seeing a lot of visuals during that about the
Mm,
energy of this moment. So I'm happy to share if you're open to it.
I would love that.
Um I feel like there's like the word that I kept getting was like accelerator. Like I feel like there's a really strong accelerator energy right now. Um, I was seeing us all like kind of going down, you know, those tube like water slides where you
Mm,
jump in and you're like, okay, are you ready to go? And then you let go and you're in the dark and you're picking up speed and it's getting faster and faster and faster as you're going down. And you just have to trust that eventually it's going to open up to, you know, where you'll be received by the water, where it's hopefully like cleansing and exciting and refreshing. Um, but it feels like these next few months we're kind of like in that water slide tunnel, um, kind of in the dark, within the darkness of transformation. And at the same time, things are really, really speeding up around us. And we're kind of in this place of learning how to integrate that um like more rapid energy, um and I don't know if anyone else is feeling it in their body, but for the past couple days like I'm kind of starting to feel like a heart racing and like a fatigue, like I drank like 5 cups of coffee even though I didn't. And that feels connected to this accelerator energy to me. I think it's really asking for a lot of expansion, but first we kind of have to keep in like the tight position and like allow the speed to keep picking up before we'll be like released into the receiving arms of the water and we can kind of expand and float again. Um, so yeah, that's just my initial reflection. How are you feeling?
That's so beautiful, and I deeply identify, and I also see Melody said that she's feeling this. Um, I was just like jotting notes because I'm like, yes, I think for me, I said this actually yesterday when we were connecting. I feel like the word that keeps on coming up and I keep on writing down is emergence. It's like this feeling of emerging out of this deep, dark cave that, at least for me, I feel like I've been in like a birthing womb cave that is dark. And it's that same feeling of like the slide, right? Like it's this like dark, unknown, unsure area that we've been existing in, but there's a knowledge and like an awareness, at least I feel, that is the emergence. Like we understand that we're getting to the end of this dark tunnel or this dark cave. Um, I also keep on seeing Cocoon and like the metamorphosis and like this sort of like shift of who we were and who we're becoming. And it feels like we're really in the middle of those two things in a really strong way. And it's so funny. This is a little bit of an anecdote, but I make I'm going to talk about it a little bit at the end, but I've been making these channeled custom talisman necklaces. And I think at least three people in the last week have been asking for butterflies. And I found that so fascinating because I think that there really is this energy of the butterfly that's coming into our collective consciousness. Like it's this feeling of we're spreading our wings, we're coming into something, and we're here to really show up and, and turn out. And it's interesting because like the juxtaposition of like how, at least in the US especially, it feels very tense and like really uncertain and scary. But I think also on a level, at least I'm feeling like there's sort of this like calm energy, even though it's a little bit, like there's like a bit of like an urgency, but it feels to me like there's a structure to it. It feels like there's a groundedness to it in a way that I think the last several years have felt more airy and more kind of like up in the ether. And I feel like this year it feels a little more to the earth and like ear to the ground. Um, I also keep on seeing and feeling the analogy of like a bud coming up in the spring. And I think maybe it's just the season we're in as well. But this winter felt so hibernation heavy for me, and I think for us collectively, I think every person I talked to was saying, oh, I'm really just in this deep hibernation. I really haven't been going out. I really haven't been seeing people. And I think collectively we were all in this like preparatory, like prepare the seeds and prepare the food and plant everything and get everything ready to really bloom in the spring and the summer. And so it feels like we're right at that precipice of that. Like it's right around the corner. And so there's a little bit of an excitement. When you talked about the heart racing, I feel like there's almost like it's like an excited energy of what's to come around the corner. Um, yeah, so it's an interesting time. It definitely feels very potent.
I think there's a little bit too of like um this like ready to get to work type of feeling. Like I'm noticing, and this too is associated with like the seasonal shift, but I'm noticing like the fire really rising up in a lot of people. Um and but actually being channeled in productive ways um
Mm,
that are in alignment with their values. Like I think people spent a while really reflecting on what their values were, like maybe even the past 4 or 5 years. But also this past February, I feel like I agree with you about that kind of cocoon energy that this past February had. Um, and to me, I feel a sense of like people ready to get down to business. Like, let's get to work. Like, there's no more waiting. The time is now. Like, we're ready to enact these differences that we want to make in the world. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of tuning in, but it's like we know it's not like exactly time yet. There is that sense of like anticipation. Um, yeah,
yeah, definitely. It's like a preparation feeling for sure. Like we're putting everything in its place, we're organizing. I've also been feeling an energy of like nesting, like really kind of like grounding into space, time, community, and like really nourishing that and like setting that strong foundation for what's to come and like what's next. And I don't know what it is. I think there's also like a mystery a little bit of like the time is now, we're rising up, what are we doing? And like that's like kind of the energy. Um but it's also just it feels 100% like that. Like definitely this strong energy of preparation.
Okay, so I think for the channeling piece, I'll just invite everyone to just kind of drop into your body. You can close your eyes, you can just sit here. I'm going to close my eyes. So just kind of drop into your body and come into a quiet place within yourself. Okay. It's always so special. Like literally every single time, I'll have something in my mind that I'm like, oh, yeah, these would be great remedies for all the things we're talking about. But when we drop in and ask the flowers, it's always different and it's always a surprise. And it's just like, it never ceases to just delight me.
That's so cool.
Um, it's like, it's humbling, honestly, because it's like, oh, you think you knew. But, anyways, so the flowers I got for us today are Spring Beauty, Moss, and Apple Blossom. And
Wow.
this is not at all what I would have expected if you had asked me to do this beforehand or separately without tuning in. Um, I find this really interesting. So, Spring Beauty is this incredible. I have to show you a picture. I'm doing you a disservice if I don't show you a picture. It's just so cutesy. Um, it's this incredible little tiny ally that shows up in the grass. It's like it's so small, you guys, and you hardly can notice it unless you're really, really looking. But it's has all of these stunning colors, this like hot pink, this purple, this green, and this beautiful white. Um, it's a really beautiful ally for times of emergence because in those moments of change, a lot of times like some really difficult emotions can actually come up. You think of like a butterfly coming out of a chrysalis and it's like kind of WTF. Like this is completely different than anything I've ever known. I've never flown before. Like, what is this? Like, who just thought I could do this? Um, and so Spring Beauty helps us transform all of those like challenging emotions that come up. It's also really beautiful for just emotional or energetic overwhelm in general. And it makes a lot of sense to me that it came through for now because we are feeling like a lot more energy in our bodies. Like the energy in the body is moving faster. This means that there's going to be a lot more that needs to be cleared and more frequently probably because there's going to be a lot more that's like kind of sliding off of us, not really matching where we're at. And so this ally is here to kind of help usher us through this like liminal space that we're in right now, and help us emerge with more confidence and just kind of be our friend as we go through the feeling like a newborn baby deer learning how to work our legs. Um, and then moss came up, which I'm gonna assume that you all know what moss looks like. Um, I love that moss came up because moss reminds us how absolutely connected we are to everything. It reminds us of reciprocity. And also, moss is like one of the first things that helps renew places after like huge damaging events have happened. Um, it feels like this really regenerative energy. It feels like this reminder that um, there's new ways are possible. We can come up with solutions that have never been created before that can work for the good of everyone. It reminds us of the unity between us all. It helps us like reorient ourselves to the fact that we are a part of a larger ecosystem. We are not so individual as our programming would have us believe. Um, and it's also like you think about moss beneath your feet, it's like this incredibly soft place to land. It's like this softness that has come up throughout our conversation, like moss really is that, you know, like if you were a fairy, wouldn't you want to just go like sleep on a bed of moss? Absolutely. It's like it really feels like that mothering energy. And so it feels like it's here for us when we need to call on that energy as well. Um, it's also so easy to find in nature, like no matter where you are for the most part, which is really cool. So this one can, in particular, be a long-term ally. I think that you actually go visit in nature throughout this time period. And then, what did I say? Apple blossom. I have to write it down immediately because my brain like switches gears. Um, okay, apple blossom is a beautiful, beautiful flower. It's part of the rose family. It has a five-pointed star in the middle of it. It's soft and supple. It smells amazing. And it really teaches us the lessons of abundance, which is, it feels interesting that it came through here. Um, but the message that came through was like consistently reminding yourself that you are part of the future creation. Um, and it feels like almost like a guiding light of how we move forward from this space, what we create, what we spend our time doing. If there's abundance of energy within us, how are we going to, you know, what are we going to direct that energy towards? And can it be something that will continue to accelerate? Like it's almost like working less and receiving more. um, I don't know if that really makes sense, but it's like because the energy is so sped up, you can do more with less. Um, yeah, and that five-pointed star in the middle is just like reminding us of how a part of every single element we are as well. It's another reminder of our connectedness. And it feels like just a blessing energy too. When we are needing the feeling of blessing within our life when things are feeling challenging, I think we can call on this ally to just come into our field and remind us that, you know, it might feel hard right now, but it's also only a time period um, and we're going to get through it. And to see if anything else wanted to come through for that. There's a really strong like energy fortification happening with these three together. Um, if you're a sensitive person and you're feeling like way too open, um, you can work with these allies to just create a fortification of your own auric field. They will help you with the clearing and just kind of building a little bit more resiliency around yourself because the world is really loud right now. Like there's a lot of chatter happening. And so if you need a moment of clearing away what is not you, if you need to come back to that true self within you, these allies are here to help you do that.
Beautiful. I find it's really interesting I mean, all of them. It's always just really fascinating to hear what comes through, and it resonates so deeply. But specifically the apple blossom, I wanted to reflect back the the connection of like doing less, and receiving more, because again, it kind of speaks back to that theme of like divine feminine and how like, as women, I'm assuming we're a lot of women are here with us, or, like, just the feminine energy in general, which we all have, no matter what you identify as. Um, there's, like, an acknowledgement of the softness that then interplays with, like, what we're used to in, like, terms of our routine and productivity, but, like, allowing and accepting that, like, that's also very powerful, like, even if you're not physically exerting yourself, that you still deserve. Like, you still deserve to receive, and you still deserve to exist, and you still deserve, like, all of the gifts and the abundance, so I just love that that came through. It really resonates and feels very beautiful and, like, really important medicine for right now. Um and the other thing too, I was just thinking, it's so interesting too that the connection of like the auric uh protection, because that just dropped in for me, that meditation in the beginning of kind of like bolstering our auric field. And so it's so interesting that the flowers also felt to continue to bring that message to the forefront. There really is, I think, like a shielding process happening for us as well. It's like come together in community, but also remember that we have to like protect and almost like maintain your own auric field so that you have the energy to then give to the collective. So it's like feeding yourself first and filling your cup first, and then, putting your seatbelt on first or your mask on first, and then passing that on to the community and giving your gifts to or sharing your gifts with others. Um, so cool. I love it.
One of my favorite things that one of my energy teachers would say is like, you are designed to run your frequency, and you're not designed to run other people's frequency. And so it's not gonna feel good in your body. And like this was really helpful for me as a sensitive person who like might have a tendency to try to insert my energy even in other people's business. Like out of like love and like wanting to help them, but actually it's not helpful because we're just so meant to run our own energy. And if you think about like our bodies as like an instrument for, holding and running our frequency, it makes a lot of sense. And um, yeah, so that was just like a really kind of groundbreaking perspective for me at the time when I heard it. So I just wanted to share that.
I love that. I've never heard it that way, and that really resonates, especially when you're an empath, which I think anyone who's attracted to flower essence medicine generally tends to be very sensitive and, tuned in, so beautiful.
Yeah, and I really love that deservingness came up because I think the words weren't really coming through for me in the moment, but that feels like a very correct representation of what I was trying to say.
Mhm.
I also just feel compelled to say that I have been visited by an extremely unusual number of spiders in the past week, and one fell on me earlier during our call, but I it wasn't the timing to mention it. But now there's another one, and they just keep come. They every single time this whole week they've come up and they face me and they just like look at me. And so, anyways, it feels like something that I'm meant to share with you all. Maybe you ally with Spider, um, and maybe Spider has something to teach us in this time.
I think I'm gonna be looking up the totem representation of a spider after this because that's really
Well,
fascinating.
I I'll say like they're weavers of worlds, right? Like
Okay,
they're
sure.
they're weavers, like they're creatresses. They're very much that divine feminine energy. So it does feel right in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. Beautiful. I know we wanted to speak a little bit about what's coming up in our worlds just so that you guys are in the loop. And also, I'll just let you know. So, what we do is we release this as a collaborative product. It's going to be available through the On Holiday portal, and I'll share it on my newsletter. By being here, you're included in that email, so you'll get the email in your inbox. And yeah, it's a beautiful experience, and we also love to hear how it resonates with you. In the past, I've had people write and, share their experience and reorder the same essence again, and I think that's, like, so amazing and incredible. It just always is, like, right time, right place, and I just love that whole energy. Um, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Okay, Melody, you've also been seeing and sensing the spider energy. I did see there was a spider in my bathtub a couple of days ago too. So maybe there's something here. That's so crazy. Wow. Um, okay, well, the spider is definitely a part of this experience. So yeah, so we'll wrap really quick. Basically on my end, I'm very excited to be launching a new arm of my business called Safta. Safta means grandmother, and it's something that's very close and dear to my heart. It's going to be an online store that is dedicated to items and things that speak to ritual, and it's a way to invite in ritual in your daily life. We'll be selling things like ceramic mugs that are hand painted, tea blends, and I'm actually starting the whole thing with my talisman necklaces that I make. They're created with stones and crystals and symbols, and we create custom pieces that basically are working with the energy that you're trying to call in or also remember. So it can be a piece that is either backwards looking or forwards looking, whichever speaks to you. So I'm really excited about that. And if you're on the newsletter, you'll get all of the updates on it. And hopefully it will launch at the end of this month.
So exciting. Um, I have a 4-week healing journey come up. I'm like really amazed at how many reflections there were throughout this hour on the themes that are coming up, and I feel very um just like it validates spirit. I know it has nothing to do with me actually. But so my healing journey is called Waking Up the Moon Garden, a passageway for doulas of the new dawn. It's a 4-week journey following a full lunar cycle, and we'll work with energy and allies of the moon to get comfortable with the darkness, transform unworthiness, step into belonging, and be able to dream a new dream for our future. I really feel like we're on the precipice of a big shift in our world, and we can either like be trapped in despair at the crumbling or step up and create something that, you know, gives value to our future and contributes to the world that we want to see. And so this container will help us nourish our nervous systems, work somatically, learn how to work spirit to spirit with plants so that we can use all of those tools and technologies to dream up the future we want to see for future generations. So, if that sounds interesting to you, maybe we'll put it in our replay email if that's okay. Cool. That sounds
Yeah,
good
we'll
to me.
drop all the links in the email for sure, to the course, and then I'll also do the link to my new shop so you can follow along.
Thank you so
That
much for
sounds
being here.
Yeah, I'm just so glad that you guys are all here. It really made the experience, and thanks so much for being vulnerable and sharing. And yeah, I love the space so much, and I'm looking forward to many more.
Bye.
Thank you.